What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
You can put your money in my bank. I'm Jem.
This is your WWE in Review show. There's a bit more details around that. We'll get that to you soon. It comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/the Pop Cultures, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. If you want to support the show, you can share the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling pod. Because, Jem, we're getting pretty close to 100 episodes. This is episode 98. Damn.
Exciting.
So yeah, on your podcast of choice, be sure to give us a star rating, a written review, whatever the hell. You know, get us out there. Get some love. If you want to support us financially, I understand it's tough right now, but if you do want to, patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, Jem, we had a week off. We had a little bit of a week off last week, apart from Money in the Bank.
Money in the bank.
How have you been?
Yeah, not too bad, considering. Just plodding along, trying to keep going in these crazy times. I'm still not sure when I'll be going to work and stuff like that. So I think I'm getting a little bit of cabin fever. But...
Yeah, I imagine you would, actually, because you've been out, like, what, X amount of weeks now? 6-7 weeks?
Yeah, about that. Yep.
Yeah. Rough times.
Yeah, so it's been a little while. How about yourself?
I'm going all right. Things are happening. It's just, just usual stuff. Fitting in new shirts, which I like, Old shirts coming suddenly brand new again. Yeah. But anyway, let's address the elephant in the room, which I just did. We're talking about new shirts now. But let's talk about the change in format for the Young and the Wrestlers. Previously, we would do 2 shows a week. We would do a Raw breakdown and a SmackDown breakdown. Now, that worked awesomely. That was great. It was a lot of fun to do those 2 shows a week when more things were happening. Now, as we currently enter as we continue along in the quarantine era or the empty arena era, a lot less is happening on each of the episodes. So as a result, it's kind of not quite as cost and time effective for us to have them split into 2 shows. So until crowds come back and things return to the way they are, we're going to run them back together on the first Super Show like we are doing tonight. So rather than having a show on a Tuesday and having a show on a Thursday, you will now only have a show on a Thursday. Now, of course, that does mean now our responses to SmackDown will be a little bit later than usual. Raw will be nice and quick. But we hope you just come to hang out with us rather than up-to-date shit, because we'll be as close up to date as we can. Now, if there are any pay-per-views or anything coming up, that will throw a spanner in the works, as SmackDown, and then we'll probably end up talking about the pay-per-view and then the Raw, unless there's anything of note. But we'll do the very best we can. Because, look, right now, as we said, it's tough times. There's only so much they can do. And it's not a whole lot's happening. And to add to that, Jem, because we're going to discuss about some things that happened last week. Also, hey, Josh Robinson in the chat. I did see you there earlier. I was trying to find the right time to say hey, and I couldn't find one. So I'm just going to throw it in there right now. There has been some changes at the WWE. One of the first things we'll mention is the brand-to-brand Invitational, which is a fancy pants way of saying, welcome!
2.0.
2.0. Same shit, different name. Jem, it is back. The wildcard rule is back.
I appreciate that there's restrictions on it now, in the sense that superstars can only go cross brands 4 times per year. So that's gonna definitely
Charlotte Flair's done it twice in 2 weeks.
yeah.
Okay.
So, well, I suppose only this week counts because it was announced this week.
Yeah, does
So
it count as
she's
matches or appearances?
I do not know. I think matches. I'm not sure. Maybe both. It's really up in the air. It's a stupid concept, and I hate it. But
Oh,
I
sorry.
also understand
Nathan
why
is
they're doing it.
Nathan in the chat is asking Charlotte who, and the answer is Charlotte Flair. So yeah, Charlotte Flair has already been doing it twice. You know what I mean? So like, I understand why. And if you think about it, sort of in a reasonable way, there are less superstars available right now due to current circumstances and quarantines, etc. So they have a small pool of talent. Then they go, okay, well, let's bring it across. Well, why don't you just announce it? Be like, look, under current circumstances, the brand split is done. Once this is all sorted, it's back to the way it was. But I understand, like, WWE won't acknowledge that fact, and instead they'll bring in some gimmicky bullshit that'll actually be of a detriment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that though, there are some additional changes that we'll come talk about, like the Intercontinental Championship and what's going to happen with that, as well as people rocking up a bunch of different spaces. So if anything, doing the Super Show now is actually a better decision because right now the brands mean nothing, so we might as well lump together two. But one thing that did happen over our little week break, Becky Lynch, the man, will no longer be competing for the WWE, as she is now gone for an extended leave to be
Becky the mum.
How,
Becky the mum.
Jem, how is this news for you?
I bawled my eyes out for a solid half an hour because I know how heartbreaking that must have been. It would have been so bittersweet. To be giving up everything you love for someone else is a huge thing to do, especially because she's on the top of the world. She's at the top of her career right now, and she's giving it up to be a mother. It must be so bittersweet for her, super exciting, but I reckon it won't be long after pregnancy before we see her back in a ring. She can't, Becky Lynch is the type of person that has to leave on their own terms, and she will make sure that when she does leave, it will be something spectacular. So I think this is just a temporary maternity leave thing. I guarantee she'll be back.
Yeah. So just a quick update of what went down last week. Becky comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, has it on a table in the middle of the ring. She goes on a little spiel, which sounded a lot like a retirement/injury spiel. Instead, it went into calling Asuka out and announcing that the match at Money in the Bank was not for a title opportunity. It was for the title itself. So Joe opens the briefcase. Asuka sees the belt, grabs it, gets excited, does a dance. It was awesome. And then Becky, and I quote, "You go and be a warrior because I'm going to go be a mother." Yeah, I think, and Asuka's response was absolutely exceptional.
That's what got me even more, was Asuka being so excited.
Apparently she didn't know.
No, of course she didn't. You can see that was a genuine reaction. That was the most beautiful thing ever. I think the thing that guts me every time is as Becky's leaving the stage one last time, they zoom in on her face and she's like, "I'm going to miss you guys." Cuts me deep every time.
As a parent myself, I'm always super excited for when people get to have the awesomeness of announcing that they're having a child. So I was disappointingly, I didn't get to sort of watch it as it happened. I had Twitter give me a notification, says, "News for you. Becky Lynch leaves WWE as she is pregnant." I'm like, what? I was in a meeting at work and I shouldn't have checked my phone, but I did. And I was like, so instead of watching the show, having that full shock process, I did still I knew it was coming, and I knew I was going to be emotional because, I said being a father is just kind of, it's part of me. So when she walks out, knowing what the response was going to be, it was amazing. But I did not expect the wonderful, touching moment that comes with it. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like as you said, it must be so hard for her to take that out. But she is going, if she does come, when she does come back, because she will, she is leaving right now on the highest she could have been. She's right in the middle of a momentum push and a return of a momentum push after a bit of a long, quiet part there. So it's good to sort of see go out on that big sort of upswing, which is nice. And I think that will only give people excited to hear updates and whatever happens and sort of excited to see her return. And having Asuka be the one to take the reins is a perfect fit, as we talk about Asuka being the one person that she is sort of her greatest foil, I guess, is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from some small podcast from Australia that no one really listens to, congratulations, Mr. Seth Rollins and Mrs. Becky Lynch, on the noise of your babies.
Congratulations to Seth Rollins on winning the Insemination Chamber.
I know, what a quality comment there from...
that was the best thing ever.
Who's that from? That was from Nathan.
Yeah, I saw that tweeted the other day and I lost my mind. Best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. But, so in terms of the response, it was very, very lovely response from Becky on Raw last week. Seth didn't take it so well. He gets a little bit angry and beats the living piss out of Rey Mysterio as a response. So, being a dad is stressful in different ways.
Yeah. Apparently stressful enough to take someone's eye out.
Someone's like jam someone's eye hole into a corner of some stairs. But yeah, so that's pretty much I think everything from last week. Yeah. It's great news. Yeah. Absolutely great news.
Yeah, so exciting.
All right, let me just pull up them notes for SmackDown. Jem, do you want to kick us off while I find the notes?
Yeah, so obviously to be expected, there was a video recap of what have gone down at Money in the Bank, showing both Asuka getting the Money in the Bank briefcase and Otis winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, which leads us into Miz TV with guest and Money in the Bank winner Otis.
Awesome. Now, Jem, because I did the Money in the Bank episode solo, what's your thoughts on Otis being champion? Not being champion, being Mr. Money in the Bank.
It was, the way it happened was so funny, and I think that's the most creative and most... I've never seen a Money in the Bank go down like that. Like, I've never seen anybody win by catching it falling out of somebody else's hands. I think that was beautiful. I think that was absolutely bloody beautiful. I don't know where Otis could take this, but I'm excited to see. I don't know. I think that... I don't know. I think it's funny. It's really, really cute. He's really excited. I mean, Miz and Morrison ask him what he's carrying in it, and he starts mentioning all this food he has in there as well. So it's just like a giant lunchbox.
But that's quickly. My camera's frozen. Give me 1 second. But let's quickly add to that though, Jem. What did you think of the Money in the Bank ladder matches at a whole?
I haven't watched it in its entirety yet.
Okay.
I've been in a bit of a space, so I haven't seen it all in its entirety yet. What I have seen, honestly, I think it was the best execution. I didn't know what to expect, and I was honestly very, very skeptical of it. But like, you're open and all the women are in the lobby and Asuka's just on a fucking barricade to jump off on them. Like, it was great. It was so good.
I still love all the dudes gonna be in the gym just smack. Like, all the women are standing there all posing and nice, and all the dudes come in there and they're like, I'm gonna kick you in the fucking face. And then Daniel Bryan comes in and is like, hey, everybody, who's ready to fight?
Was it Corbin smashed one of the mirrors?
He just yeets his giant weight at the window. Yeah.
And then wasn't it him and Daniel Bryan in Vince McMahon's office?
Nah, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
Oh, it was him and AJ. And he's just like, get out.
But adding to that, so you mentioned the Miz TV. Now, what was good here is this was... yes, it was Miz TV, and I guess the Dirt Sheet does have a different format to Miz TV. But having John Morrison involved in this as well, like maybe that's sort of the Dirt Sheet's kind of gone away a little bit. Maybe they'll bring Miz TV back because we found that without the crowd dirt sheet didn't really land the same. Very possible.
Man, it was so funny because at Morrison at one point he's like, they were talking about like Otis's weight, and he's like, "Are you pregnant, Otis? Like, are you gonna? Hey, if you're pregnant, like maybe you're gonna relinquish your Money in the Bank, like Becky Lynch did." And he's like, "No."
I'm not a very big fan of them focusing on his weight as a storyline, but I don't feel that is an easy go.
I think he combats it well though, because they make fun of his weight, but he shows them how strong and agile he actually is.
Yeah, but he's actually incredibly strong. Like comes out doing cartwheels and shit.
Yeah,
so then they end up talking smack at each other, and then eventually it comes down to a proposition of Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery for a tag match. However, with Otis off apparently catching dysentery or something.
Tucker
getting dysentery or whatever it was from hiking in the woods. Otis spent the rest of the night looking to try to find a tag partner. One point he stops and finds Sheamus, no chance. He ends up asking Braun Strowman, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Next up, we've received confirmation that Sami Zayn is unable to compete. He's unable to defend his Intercontinental Championship, and that's because currently he is unable to attend the arena. And I believe he's back home in Canada, and under current circumstances, he's not able to get to Florida. So it's a little bit shit. It's a little bit shit, but I also understand that if he's stuck in another country, they can't leave that championship belt, that title on ice.
Yeah, exactly it.
So they have brought in the Intercontinental whatever the fuck tournament, where there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Four different pairings. Four matches, and then bring it down to there's 2, 4, 6, 8 competitors fighting.
Bracket.
Eight contestants in the bracket fighting their way to the championship. So on the show tonight, there were 2 matches. The first one was between Elias and King Corbin. What'd you think of this, Jem? Because this is a continuation of the feud that they've had for a while. There's also the involvement of Elias in the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, I did like Elias's entrance music.
It's changed.
It changed, yeah. Yep. And so was his Titantron, which was really cool. Look, good match. Like when these guys get going, like they're really good wrestlers. One thing that really impresses me though is how damn high Elias can jump and knee Corbin in the face in those goddamn jeans.
Yeah, I can't do shit in jeans.
Like, I can't even put jeans on, let alone jump that high and kick someone. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that was absolutely wild. And I was not expecting the win from Elias. Like, when I saw the guitar get smashed, I was like, all right, Elias is going to fuel up now. But, yeah, vicious knee into that roll-up, and he had him in seconds. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that is kind of... I knew it was going to end in some sort of shonky finish. I just had a feeling. Because where the feud has been for the last number of weeks, I'm like, it's going to break a line and someone's going to get either DQ'd or, advance on sketchy terms. But that's fine.
Yeah.
The second one on the night was, where are we? Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak.
This was an interesting one.
Yeah.
And this was one that I watched intently because these two are phenomenal technical wrestlers and they know each other so well now. So it was like a game of back and forth, and it was so cool to watch.
And to add to that, this was Drew Gulak's last match on WWE currently, as his contract had expired and it was not renewed. So contrary to all of the headlines that you are seeing, he has not been released. His contract has not been renewed. They are very different things. So what I loved is this was a very technical match, and the story here being that these two know each other in and out. Like it makes complete sense that they would have reversals and ways and way out of each of their different movesets. It was awesome. There was no high
It was
high
so
spots.
good.
It was all very low mat wrestling, and I really enjoyed it personally.
Proper grapple wrestling. And yeah, so did I. It was an absolutely beautiful match, and just the respect between those two as well. You know, shaking hands before and after the match, and Daniel Bryan saying, "I got this win because of you," was just the icing on the cake. Like,
Yeah, and especially knowing this could potentially be the last time we ever see Drew Gulak on WWE television.
Exactly.
It was a nice way to go out. It was a loss, but it was a
And you
loss
could
that
tell they were
super
having
strong.
fun too. Yeah, they were having fun too because they were both smiling and smirking at each other throughout the whole match. So you could tell they were enjoying it. But yeah, and that made it even more enjoyable again. That was beautiful.
Yeah, so of course, that means Daniel Bryan moves through to the next round of the Intercontinental Tournament. How do you think that either Daniel Bryan or Elias are in with a possibility to bring home the gold?
Well, after the match, Daniel Bryan was interviewed, and it was a very passionate promo about how when he was told he had to retire, that was the belt he had to give up. That was the belt he never got to give the proper run and stuff like that. And he's like, that belt deserves the world, and I want to be the champion to give it that. So I honestly think with that sort of passion and fire, Daniel Bryan's going to win.
I would like to see Daniel Bryan go as far into it as he can. I say that knowing that he, excuse me, he does have another kid on the way. Therefore, he may be needing some time away at some point too. Mm-hmm. So, and he had such a spectacular run as the Planet's champion last year. I would like to see him get back in on that championship, that champion run, even if it's a mid-card belt.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy with that because I don't see
I think
the
Daniel
main
Bryan
titles changing. Yeah, with main titles not changing hands anytime soon. I think it's perfectly fine to have him rock the mid card and be a good competitor for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go back and have a look here. So we had a women's match: Naomi versus Dana Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know you, Jem, are a massive fan of the Dana Brooke.
Huge fan of the flex appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Corey Graves and Michael Cole made it a point to mention that it was sort of like Naomi looking for retribution after being knocked out of the Ladder in the Bank. Ladder in the Bank. Money in the Bank ladder building HQ match. Basically, yeah, the whole idea of the match was it's sort of like Naomi trying to get her retribution, but it looks like Dana Brooke's got her number because Dana Brooke got the win again.
I'm really liking
so 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, I'm really excited to seeing Dana Brooke get some pushes and at Money in the Bank, seeing that poster go over her head. I'm pretty sure it was Carmella's poster. It was absolutely beautiful. Just some of the shit they got up to, it was so good. She is phenomenal, and I'm so glad we're seeing more of her.
It is disappointing that Naomi's had a pretty shit run since her return. She's really not been able to secure any wins. She had a championship opportunity and kind of fumbled it. So she's not really had a good spot. And then even though you're a big fan of Dana Brooke, Dana hasn't had a really strong run in the longest time either.
Mm-mm.
So it's weird for her to, it's rougher for Naomi to even take the L's from Dana. But what do you think this means for Dana? Do you think we'll see her become a stronger mid-card women's competitor, or is this an up to championship match at some point?
I feel like it may be an up to championship match at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think
maybe within 6 months or so from now, you reckon?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think it'd be really interesting to see Bayley and Dana Brooke go one-on-one or see sort of where it lands. But, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, because it does come down to where that women's championship will lie. So this week in one of the first cross-brand invitational events, Charlotte Flair, who now seems to want to work on all three brands, comes in with the championship and is claiming that people want more Charlotte Flair. And then Bayley and Sasha Banks make their way into the arena. Flair calls out Sasha for being the reason Bayley is where she is, which is semi-true.
Oh, man. Yeah, the Queen dropped some hard truths on Sasha and Bayley, and you could see it in Sasha's face that she was like, yeah. it's like that moment in Jay and Silent Bob where Ben Affleck's going at Silent Bob and he's like, when Lord, when the fuck will I?
When is my time?
Yeah, exactly it. That's the look. Like the look Silent Bob was giving him is like the look Sasha Banks was giving Charlotte. Like, yeah, you're fucking right. And then whenever Sasha went to say something, Bailey cut her off, and it was like, oh shit, like this is going to be very interesting, and I'm lapping it up. Feed me more. I knew this was coming. How it was going to come about, I don't know. I think Charlotte pulling the hard truths out is probably the perfect person to do it too.
Yeah, it's right about like poking an antagonism that I really enjoyed. I think it kind of paid off that way.
Exactly it. So,
But yeah, then it does end with Bailey challenging Charlotte for a match, and Charlotte does accept for next week, and then asks the question to Sasha Banks if she's comfortable with being her own woman or Bailey's lackey.
Yeah, exactly.
This is part of that interesting thing. So whenever we look at the dynamic between Sasha Banks and Bailey, it is very much that Sasha Banks was always the number one. She was always the stronger of the two, and especially in terms of imagery or even just championship holder in the past. However, the titles are the positions have sort of reversed in recent times. We have always been speculating that there will be a turn by Sasha at some point. To jump back in and be the backstabber that she always is. Do you still think that's in the future?
Oh, Christ, yeah. You can see it in her face.
Christ, yeah.
Guaranteed. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, Sasha's going to pull a shifty on Bailey, and it's going to be beautiful. And I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Not too bad. I'm feeling you. Let's have a quick look. So we see this awesome promo, speaking of women, from Sonya Deville, who had Dolph Ziggler by her side. She addresses Mandy about humiliating her even further, and tells Mandy that she is never going to be as good as Sonya. Now, Sonya Deville is just swinging for the fences in the best possible way.
So good. She speaks with so much heart and passion, and she's like, I'm going to humiliate you. I'm going to ruin your career. Like, what are you even good at anyway? Clearly, it's not being a friend or a tag team partner. Like, you can't win a match. All you can do is be blonde and pretty. Like, absolutely ripping into her. It was awesome.
What I really loved about this, though... Oh, sorry, keep going. My apologies.
I was going to say, this is leading into next week. There is a mixed tag team with Otis and Mandy Rose versus Sonya and Dolph Ziggler.
Speaking of Dolph Ziggler, what I really enjoyed, though, is after Sonya drops his killer promo, the camera kind of zooms on him, and he's like, yeah, that. Like, there's like, it kind of like zooms in on him, like, you gonna say anything? He's like,
what she said.
Yeah, that kind of nailed it. Yeah. So what are you thinking of this turn? Because once again, if we want to use the Sasha Bailey example, Sonya has always been the secondary to Mandy Rose. Like we have seen, an example in a semi-recent with the GQ magazine, where that Mandy featured in that, and she was off handing around and signing, and Sonya was then just carrying a stack of magazines. Like she has for the longest time sort of been that secondary position.
Yeah, definitely there's a lot of pent-up anger and sort of hostility there, so it's really interesting to see how that's coming out. I'm really excited to see how this tag match is going to go down. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of punching, a lot of viciousness, and a lot of emotion.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'm excited to see.
We get a little promo from the Forgotten Sons, and they talk about how when they came back from war to no respect, whatever, because they're all ex-Marines, so they're going to welcome everyone with closed arms and a closed fist, because no one...
With the closed fists, yeah. So, when we came back, nobody welcomed us with arms, we were this, that, and the other, welcomed us with open arms, so that's fine, we'll welcome them with closed fists. I was like, ooh. I had honestly forgotten that the Forgotten Sons existed again. I feel bad, but they're just so... What's the word I'm looking for? They're just not
Forgettable.
Yeah, they really are. They are the forgotten sons because I keep forgetting about them. Like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, sure, that was fine.
Because the difficulty that they have is there doesn't seem to be a lot of personality dripping from them, and I think that's the biggest hurdle because nothing about them is there for you to grab onto to connect to. Like right now, it's just three angry, bikey looking dudes. Like there's no thread for you because you know you're not an angry looking bikey dude, are you, Jem?
I mean, last time I checked.
Yeah, same as me. I can't relate to that at all. So in terms of relatability or sort of coming across to the fan base, they don't really fit that. You know, when you look at certain characters and you find yourselves certain wrestlers and you gravitate towards them. Now, you know, like we in the past, we've gravitated to the likes of, I don't know, Kurt Angle and like me personally, like me Braun, you know, with Braun and Finn Balor. I don't know, like there's something about that makes you go, oh yeah. Yeah, no, I like this person. I like this character. I like who they are. But with Forgotten Sons, there is nothing for you to grab onto unless you yourself are a Marine that feels forgotten.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something they can work on? You think maybe there's not quite enough character in them to make it happen?
I don't know. I really don't know. Well, I think time will tell with that one. I honestly do see them fading into obscurity pretty quickly.
Time for the main event. We do get confirmation that Otis will be teaming up with Braun Strowman, as he did ask him earlier. And then we see Miz and Morrison sort of giving him shit, like, hey, man, you know, like, no one's coming. Braun Strowman with a new Titantron, might I add, with the Braun Strowman Express.
Yeah, the new T-shirt and stuff as well, the train T-shirt. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited for this because I was like, you could see immediately as soon as Braun's music hit, like Miz and Morrison shit themselves.
Yeah.
So like, there's no way, like, because even like when Otis asked Braun, he was like, Braun's like, you're not going to stab me in the back, are you? And just try and take my title. And he's like, no, I'd never do that. And he's like, look, you've got some gall, kid, and I appreciate that, so I'll think about it. And then after the match, the greatest thing ever, Mandy comes out and she's like congratulating them. And then like Otis puts down the briefcase and goes to run at Braun, and Braun catches him. Is like, I'm joking. It's literally a joke. I'm not actually going to do that. And you can see for the rest of the whole exchange, Braun Strowman is watching him on it. It was so good. But no, that was so much fun. And it was a really good match too. Like it was a really good match. I love that green color that Miz and Morrison were wearing. But yeah, no, that was a bit of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot because, being a fan of both Braun and Otis, it was pretty much a good matchup for me. I enjoyed Braun's attempt of the caterpillar.
Oh my god, it was so dumb but so great. That was beautiful.
There has been some comments, especially from one particular outlet, namely being fucking Meltzer prick and Brian Alva but about that they believe that this is the burial of Otis. Like,
I don't think so.
What the fuck? No.
Yeah, no.
Like, if anything, this is great character building for Otis. Like, because we want Otis. The idea is that Otis is relatable. He's people can connect with him, and he is a face. So like, it's within his best interest to right now. Like, what we're seeing here is demonstration that he's a man of his word. Like he's like, I'm not going to do it dirty. I need help right now, and yes, I am a threat to you right now, but we are going to be at peace for this match.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I'm still pretty confident that Otis is not going for the Universal Championship, period.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
I understand, like, there is that little bit of a bummer here that Otis was sort of thrown to the, sort of took a beating, was left on the outside, and Braun had to take the win here. So I can certainly see the idea of, like, demonstrating that Otis isn't capable of getting a win by himself, which we know he can from his match with Dolph at WrestleMania. However, there was interference. So, I think they're wrong, but I think they're wrong most of the time.
I think they're wrong. As weird as this is gonna sound, because like obviously the mention of like where would Otis catch in? Like how would Otis cash in? I have a feeling that somehow his case is gonna go missing.
Yeah, so that's been the prediction as well, to sort of to go with because his entire story right now is based very heavily in making him a sympathetic character, making people feel sorry for him. So if then there happens to be some match where he loses the briefcase, like somehow the briefcase gets on the line, and then I think that's probably a very reasonable path. I disagree with it, but I do believe it's a very reasonable path.
I think it'd be very interesting depending on who they have to do that to.
Like it's a good, like, maybe we got the feel good moment of Otis getting the win, but maybe, what was the expected outcome of, say, Baron Corbin. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's a dirty. So they got the feel good win of Otis, but like we knew that it probably should have been Baron. This will be how they got that moment, and then they're able to get across there. And Dad Bod's here as well. Looks like he got the time zones mixed up, but he's happy to be here, and we're happy to have you, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it'll be interesting for sure. There's only one thing I didn't agree with that main event, and that was at the very end of it. Otis called Braun Strowman Big Daddy Braun, and I was like, no sir, it is Big Daddy Betson and nobody else.
That's right. I'm the Big Daddy. Otis made this personal.
Big E even said so.
That's right. We have confirmation from WWE superstar Big E that I am the Big Daddy round here. Exactly. Not as sexual as it sounds. But, you know what? Maybe I am the one to take that Money in the Bank briefcase from Otis. Maybe now that it's personal, he has brought me into this. It is my time to really mishandle that briefcase.
Yeah.
You know how many man shakes I could keep in that briefcase while he's sitting there keeping beef jerky and shit? I'll put my man shakes in there and my Nintendo Switch so I can play Animal Crossing when I'm in between matches.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea to me.
Does. So that brings us to the end of this week's episode of SmackDown. Before we jump in to chat Raw, Jem, what did you think of this one?
It was a pretty even across the board. Nothing horrible, nothing outstanding. I'd probably call it right down the middle and give it a Kurt.
Same here. It's a Kurt all the way. It was by the numbers. It hit everything it needed to. There were certainly some good moments. There was no, which is promising. But yeah. So let's move it on into Monday Night RAW. Now
obviously, they opened with a recap of Becky Lynch.
Yeah, so we get to see the cool little, which I love, by the way. That's why we didn't really address it before. We'll address it again. I love that recap so much. It is beautiful. Just sort of showing the career, the run of Becky Lynch. We'd see Steampunk Becky.
3 years.
Yeah, we saw the Last Kicker. We saw the Man. Like, there's all these different moments, and granted, I've only been watching for nearly 2 years. So I've seen pretty much most of Becky's run, and I really connected to it because I am a big Becky Lynch fan. So for me, it was cool. I liked it a lot. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed it. Thankfully it's been enough time that I'm not like a blubbering mess when I think about it. Last week, as we discussed at the start of the show, cried like a mess. Then I had the ad break to recover. I was like, and they came back from the break and did the highlight reel. I'm like, this all comes out again. It's a goddamn mess. Then they kick off the show. They also mentioned, of course, that the brand to brand invitational. We had King Corbin would be taking on Drew McIntyre later in the night. But things do kick off fucking hard, Jem, because following the back of last week where we had Daddy Orton and Edge meet up for the first time since WrestleMania, where the proposition was given from Randy to Edge for a straight up wrestling match at Backlash, because the conversation was that yes, at WrestleMania you were the stronger man, you did win. However, that was like no rules, last man standing.
Yeah.
Let's make it a straight up
Better
wrestling
wrestlers,
match.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Randy claims that he is in fact the best wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it does open with Charlie Caruso in the ring, and she calls out Randy Orton to have a chat, and she basically says like, you know, why? And in a roundabout way, he just says, I can't let Edge be the better man. Like, I am the better man. I can't let that happen. And as he's going on, he's like, I know why he hasn't answered me yet. It's fear and doubt. He's afraid, and he's not sure that he can beat me in a proper match, like a straight up wrestling match. And Edge comes storming out to the ring and gets face to face. And he's like, I know you.
Is it just me, or do they play Edge's theme tune lower than everybody else's?
I feel like they do.
Yeah, everyone else comes through crystal clear, but then are they trying to like make some dodgy like
gas stuff?
Yeah, but even then, like, it's just piped through the thing differently. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Edge is basically like, you're playing chess. Like, I'm going to take my time making my moves because I know this is all a game to you. He's like, this is a paycheck to you. He's like, to me, this is like my life. This is what I grew up wanting forever. All I ever wanted was like, the Intercontinental Champion. And hey, didn't I win that off you? And just starts taking digs. And then Randy just starts arcing up and I start yelling, and Edge just like, fine, I accept the challenge. And we are getting a straight up wrestling match at Backlash against Randy Orton.
That's right. Bad Prince in the chat says he's got the troubles. Edge has got the troubles. What's the troubles?
What's the troubles?
But yeah, it's good to see because the backlash is on its way.
Yes, it is. It's exciting stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see them go at it again. That last match was amazing.
Yeah, like once again, what we're having, having them do the last man standing match was awesome. And yes, Edge appeared in the Rumble and whatnot, as did Randy. But I do agree that I'm looking forward to see Edge have a wrestling match again. You know, because like that'll be a really true demonstration of his recovery.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I think that's where we will see that, and it's a good hunk of time, so I'm not too mad about that at all.
Yeah, super exciting.
We'll throw around for a little while. So later on we see a promo from Liv. She's already crying for some reason.
Yeah, I know.
She talks about how emotionally about her mother and where she came from, and how that Liv Morgan is determined to be like her mother in terms of being resilient and being sort of like strong and not backing down. And
it was just a long-winded way of saying I want to be the next women's.
Yeah, the only thing I really like about it, just in terms of the wording, because she was like, I want to be just like my mother, and I want to be a Raw Women's Champion. I'm like, your mum was Raw Women's Champion?
Yeah.
But that's just me being like a nitpicky on what she said.
Yeah, it was definitely very long-winded, very sort of out there promo, but it was really cool to see how passionate she is about it and how driven she is now. That was really cool.
So, how are you finding this semi-repackaged Liv Morgan? Like, so she came back with one pack, and then we've seen this repackaged millennial who can't find her place, doesn't know what she wants to do, rough upbringing, almost like a reshaped juvenile delinquent that she was prior to this.
Yeah, for me, it's super freaking relatable because I've obviously watched Total Divas.
Your mom's Raw Women's Champion, though.
Yes, exactly. My mom was Raw Women's. No, but like I've seen like her behind the scenes and sort of her relationship with her mom and stuff like that, and I'm pretty much in the same position as Liv Morgan's in that respect. So I think for me it hits a bit harder because it is super relatable to myself. I love it. Honestly, I think it could do great things if they handle it properly, which I think they're getting there, slow and steady. I'm interested to see where it's going to go, though, for sure.
Yeah, look, I guess
You know, she
the
put up a hell of a fight.
that's true. The difficulty is because there was such a sort of slow kick in under her current rebranding. I'm like, okay, sure, and I do feel I'm a little bit disappointed that they're kind of returning to those roots. However, from her old character, but I guess the demonstration there would show that old character is more closer to who she is. Oh, excuse me. Or who she wants to be, rather than a forced repackage, I guess. Does that make sense? Yeah. Which is fine by me. Speaking of from that old shtick, we also see Charlotte Flair. She makes her way out to call out ex Riot Squad member with Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott.
Yeah, for a little matchy match because apparently Ruby had some things to say.
Mm.
Ruby, what's good? But yeah, they had a hell of a match. They do mention obviously that it was a couple of years ago that Ruby Riott was giving Charlotte Flair a hell of a run for her money, and it's been a while since we've seen those two in the ring together. So that was really cool. But Charlotte did end up winning with a figure eight that Ruby Riott tapped out to.
Yeah, which would be expected. It's one of those weird things. Is like, it sucks, but Charlotte's good. You know what I mean? Like in terms of her within the space, like she's not going to lose anytime soon, regardless of who she's facing. She's not going to be losing anytime soon. So there's that.
Yeah, not at all.
Next up, we get a bit of a recap of last week with Seth Rollins and his old business with Rey Mysterio last weekend.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio's eyeball out on the stairs at the end of the match.
Yeah, so then out comes Seth Rollins in a nice suit and tie, looking very much like the evil guy from Far Cry 5, which I really liked. With this weird sort of like cult-y leader vibes going on, with Murphy by his side, rocking a new shirt that has the same stained glass appearance on his sleeves.
Yeah, I love the look of that. One thing that like immediately was like, oh man, this is going to be the most like fucked up promo for me was like beforehand it zooms in on Seth Rollins and Murphy walks up. Murphy walks up and looks
Buddy
at
Murphy.
him. Yeah, puts his arm on his shoulder and then like
grabs his
Seth looks at him and he goes like this, and then Seth just grabs him and gives him a hug and he's like, I've had a revelation, Murphy, and we need to tell the world about it. Let's go. And I'm oh shit, there's gonna be some crazy cult leader bullshit coming up right now. Like, here we go, give me all of it. Because this crazy cult leader, like Jared Leto wannabe, like I love it. I love it. It is the perfect inspiration. He is executing it perfectly. And it's just perfect. Because he comes out and he's like, I had a revelation, I was in a dark place and I saw the light, and what happened to Rey Mysterio? He never admits that he did it. He keeps saying what happened. And he's like, what happened to Rey Mysterio? It's a blessing in disguise, and you need to see that, and this, that, and the other. And he never apologizes to Rey Mysterio for what he did. He's just like, he, at the end of it, he's like, Rey Mysterio, you're welcome. And I was like, bruh, really? You are gonna get murdered, and I am all for this. Like, someone's gonna bash your brains in. And like you are doing, like he's doing the very MJF of like, you are perfect at making me hate you.
Yeah, good heel work.
Perfect at it.
Good heel work.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, he's doing amazing with it, and I honestly enjoy watching Seth Rollins do what he's doing. I can't wait to see more.
He does. He feels way more confident and happy within this current shtick.
Yeah. But with that, obviously, Humberto Carrillo comes out pissed. He's like, you attacked my friend, my mentor, an idol to many. Like, and Seth's just like, whoa. Look, I can tell you're looking for a fight. I'm clearly not ready. My friend here, my buddy friend.
He's like, that's not my friend, buddy. That's not my buddy, guy.
Yeah, exactly. But Umberto's like, he's like, I can't fight you right now, but Murphy has a match later on, and I'm sure he could use the warm up, and so an impromptu match is made between. We get that little impromptu match with Murphy winning with the Murphy's Law. And then Murphy ends up attacking Humberto after the match at the request of Seth Rollins, which prompts Aleister Black to come out to Humberto's aid, who Murphy's facing later in the night. So that was an interesting development. But yeah, I was like, cool, I can't wait to see more later.
Pretty much. I thought it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not asleep. I just zoned out for a sec there. Ray has balls, but bring back El Santo, says DJ Bad Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it was interesting to see Buddy Murphy have 2 matches in the night. The first being, so I like that because that demonstrates some awesome strength within him. And, yeah, no, I'm all right with it. But yeah, once again, with having Seth be involved in this match, as sort of being the instructor, to sort of, once again being like, buddy, do what you need to do, because there has been these moments of doubt within Murphy around his actions with Seth Rollins and the Messiah. Do you think those issues may have sort of been resolved here, or is he sort of happily getting told what to do?
It seems like they're back on the same page.
It's good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then Aleister Black comes in and does some busting too, which was good fun.
Yeah, exactly. Good setup for later.
Yeah,
we
big time.
Get a little bit of King Corbin making his presence known on SmackDown by complaining about
Joseph Seed. That's his name. I couldn't remember the guy from Far Cry 5. Joseph Seed was his name.
That's it. Yeah. He's complaining about food not being brought to him and not have his own locker room and any bloody thing else he can complain about. And then he calls over a referee and he's like, this is appalling and you're going to make this better by doing exactly as I tell you what to do for the next. Because it is announced that Corbin will be facing Drew McIntyre later. So yeah, that was that.
Yeah. Which is more Baron Corbin. I mean, it's this thing. It's like, okay, of all the people that you want. Now, once again, look, from behind the curtain, this is, as we discussed at the start of the show, this cross-brand invitational is all about bringing talent across to try help with the poor ratings that we're getting right now. Doing shit. Poor ratings that WWE are getting right now, and this is their attempt to fix that. The same way the wild card rule tried to do the exact same thing. Might I add, which they then did as a response to throwing Corbin under the bus and saying that Corbin was the reason for the shitty ratings on Raw. So why is he continuing to be pushed front and center if they even within story believe that he is the reason for poor ratings?
Well, I think this one makes sense because they obviously do have a history, Corbin and Drew McIntyre. Corbin even says it. He's like, he was basically my lackey for a while there. I told him what to do and that sort of stuff. So I can understand where this is coming from. And honestly, I was kind of interested to see it. And when I did actually watch the match, it was really good as well, which we'll talk about later. But it kind of, for the first time in a long time, Corbin piqued my interest with this.
Awesome. We'll get to that in just a little bit because with that being the main event of the night. Once again, we see R-Truth involved, which we saw last week with Truth bringing out this character, Pretty Ricky.
Yeah. So there was like Truth won like a 5-man tag match or something like that, and then Bobby Lashley came out and attacked him last week or something like that. Anyway, he says he got word from his friend Pretty Ricky, and then jumps out of the ring with the thing in his mouth and stuff. And,
with like fake teeth and cross his eyes and
I don't know. It was the dumbest thing ever, but it was interesting, especially because before the match, MVP had approached Bobby Lashley and was having a chat to him about what happened the week prior. And he's like, you haven't accepted my thing yet because, you got your trophy wife and la, la, la. And Bobby Lashley's obviously like getting pissed at what MVP's saying. And MVP's like, no, that's fine. Like, I might see you later. So MVP does end up coming down at the end of this match. And yeah, he's just like sort of clapping on Bobby Lashley, who's just sort of watching on. And then it cuts to like Lana backstage, like losing her shit and like throwing things around because she's very clearly pissed that her husband is going to MVP for help. So again, Trouble in Paradise, which is going to be interesting to see where this leads.
That's not the Kofi Kingston Trouble in Paradise, might I add. That's just
no
difficulties in the marriage.
Yeah, exactly it. So yeah.
Then we also saw a celebration with Kairi and Asuka. Kairi coming out with a recorder, playing Empress of Tomorrow on the recorder.
I know, so
amazing,
cute.
Absolutely amazing. I loved it.
Flowers, balloons, it's all done up. Asuka comes out hysterical, like, oh my god, for me. So cute. And Kairi does announce that Asuka is now a Grand Slam champion.
The second Grand Slam champion behind Bayley. Yeah. So that's the first to hold the NXT championship, the Women's Tag Team Championship, as well as the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. So well done, Asuka. Right. Well done. Yeah. Which is interesting. I always thought she'd had the Raw championship before. So that kind of blew my mind.
That was super exciting. And then Kairi proceeds to start playing the recorder, and Nia Jax comes out. And basically is like, I'm Nia Jax. I'm coming for your title. There. And then gets her ass handed to her by two little Japanese girls.
Look, I just want to add that too, though. I understand why Nia Jax came from. The recorder, one of the worst fucking sounds in the world. So I understand her frustration coming out there and bussing Kairi for it.
Exactly right. And then like later on, we see them celebrating again. And they eventually split ways, and you see Nia Jax walk out from the back, and she clearly targeting Kairi. And then it cuts to like Kairi playing recorder somewhere, and then Nia Jax bucks in and beats her up from behind, and then Asuka finds out what's going on and chases after Nia Jax, and like Nia just tries to not acknowledge that Asuka's there, and Asuka just belts the shit out of her. So I have a funny feeling the first person Asuka's going to be facing for that belt is Nia.
Now they've pushed in the past before, and I remember it being well received. So I guess that's a positive. Mm-hmm. Is it something that you want to see, Jem?
I don't really care for Nia Jax, so no. I feel like there's so many other people that could be in that position, especially on Raw. Like, Shayna and Asuka have had this awesome little feud going on.
Yeah, I would personally prefer Shayna, but maybe it's one of those things that's not quite there yet. We did see, Shayna and Nia have a moment during the Money in the Bank match in that conference room where she like pushed her face in for a little while. Maybe this is something they'll build up to. It's like, all right, Nia, and then Baszler. Yeah, because maybe the response towards Baszler, even in this storyline. Yes, mate. What? Okay, I have no idea what you're saying. So like with Shayna, right? The build up has not quite landed. You know what I mean? Like the reception for her may not have been as big or as wanted as it should be. So maybe there's a bit of a waiting game here, and by having her do things like having these matches with Natalya might be what's building her up until this point.
Yeah, which there was, like you mentioned, a match with Shayna and Natalya later in the night. That was a submission match coming off the back of last week, which obviously Shayna Baszler did win, which caused Natty to lose her mind.
So this is the thing that we had Tantrum Natalya last week. She had kicking the ropes like a child. Same thing happened again this week. What are they trying to do here? Apart from show that Shayna can kick her ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be lighting a fire under Natty's ass, and something's going to get her fueled.
But once again, it is one of those situations of like having Shayna work with Natalya is a great idea. We know that Ronda Rousey spent some time with Natalia as well. So she is certainly a great mentor, a great mind for the business. So I think, Shayna can probably learn a lot from her, especially, just sort of maybe backstage and front of house as well. Because NXT is a different beast. So I understand why that they would probably pair her up with that for a little while. I'm not saying that Shayna is at risk or anything like that. It's just maybe there is maybe there's a little bit of work that needs to be done to sort of get her to the point they need.
Yeah. In saying that,
and my phone's dead, so it's all on you now, Jim.
That's okay. This episode was a really women-heavy episode, which I absolutely loved, because we also had the Women's Tag Team Championship match with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus the Iconics, as the Iconics won against them last week.
Yeah, so the Iconics made their triumphant return after 6 months. Something like that.
Yeah,
6 months off. So it was a lovely surprise. We know a good friend of the show, Josh Robinson, was incredibly excited to see them back. He's a big fan. Love you, buddy. I think James off to bed. He's in fact a big fan of those two. And he was very excited to see them not just come back, but also have a opportunity for the championship.
Yeah. Which was awesome. It was a good match, but ultimately Peyton Royce did have a freak out and it caused a disqualification. So the Iconics did. And then later on they are backstage sort of having a shouting match at each other. And Billy slaps Peyton in the face, beautifully clocks her. And Peyton's just Billy's like, oh my God, babe, I don't know why I did that. Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, babe. And they're crying, babe. Funny as shit. I love those two so much. That was so I'm interested to see where this is going to go now.
Well, that's been my next question, because the rumor mill, the little discussion on the social medias has been that what if this is in fact the split of the Iconics, similar to the Fire and Desire.
No, they cannot split the Iconics. They cannot.
They totally
They don't have enough women's. They don't have enough women's tag teams. I reckon the Iconics are sticking. I think it's all a ploy.
So you think with the loss of Fire and Desire, they need to keep those women's teams?
I think so. I think so, because what are they going to do? They're just going to the titles are just going to become obsolete. They pretty much are. So it's one of those they have to do something, and they can't split them up. They can't.
I agree with you. I didn't see them splitting them. I like the idea of it, the story. The rumor mill says Dash. That's Dirt Sheet Dash, by the way. Saying the rumor is that they want to push Peyton as a singles competitor.
That hurts.
What does that mean for Billy?
Exactly. That's why it hurts. I think those two work better as a tag team, and they should stay there. I don't think they will benefit from singles competition at all.
Gotta be joking me.
Gotta be joking me. I love them so much. With that being said, we did get an episode of the KO. His guests to be Zelina Vega, Angel Garza, Andrade, and Austin Theory. As we've seen in the last couple of weeks, there has been a little bit of a rift in that arrangement. A lot of arguing and stuff going on, and it seems to be stemming from Austin Theory. KO shows a few videos of them having some fights and stuff like that, and Zelina, I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to get the goss, where's the rift in our relationship, and what's the breakdown gonna happen? And she's like, you're not getting that. And he's like, oh no, that's what I want. And she's like, you're not even being a good host. You're standing on the edge of the ring and you're not even in here. And he's like, oh, look, social distancing and stuff like that. I've actually got somebody who wants to have a chat to you guys. And he calls him out, and Apollo Crews sprinting to the ring to start attacking Andrade. which led into an impromptu match, being a tag team match of Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews versus Angel Garza and Andrade with Austin Theory at ringside. And throughout the match, some miscommunication happens, and somebody gets, I think Austin Theory accidentally gets hit by Angel Garza, to which he obviously fights back while the referee's back is turned, causing Angel Garza to lose the match to Apollo. So obviously, like, Vega and all that cracked the shits. And
sorry, the returning Apollo Crews after his injury from Hands of Andrade.
Yes, the returning Apollo Crews after his injury, and the returning KO, who we haven't seen since WrestleMania.
After he also got jacked up from WrestleMania.
Which he said too. Yeah, he's like, I got pretty banged up at WrestleMania. But yeah, so Vega, Garza, and Andrade all like attack Austin Theory. Even Vega gets in a vicious slap and stuff like. That's like the little rift in their little thing. So it looks like it's just Andrade and Angel Garza now.
Well, we did always think it was a little odd that Austin Theory was involved, and it's almost like he was in there as Andrade was on his suspension. He was always sort of the roped-in individual anyway. So what do you think this means for Austin Theory coming out now, Jem?
Well, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know, because like this was, I believe, the match before the last match of the night. Second last match of the night. Sorry. The fact that Austin Theory stayed, he'd been thrown into like the timekeepers area, and the fact that he just stayed there and he didn't leave and he watched on, kind of like Buddy Murphy did. I was looking at it like, I think Seth Rollins is going to recruit him.
So he's the new guy in.
Yeah, I think so, because the way he was sitting there, it's just that it's the MO for Seth Rollins. It seems like he did it with Murphy. Like he tried to do it with somebody else as well. Like I just imagine that, that being the way it goes.
I think that's a reasonable assumption, because it is one of those things. Like with apparently one of the members of AOP, I think it might be Razor, is currently injured. Hence, why we've not seen either of them for a little while. Yeah, which is disappointing because they just came back from being injured. So that does mean that the Disciples are some members down, and it's one of those, they kind of have to bring some new guys in order to flesh it out, make it feel like the stable that it should be. So that's certainly a good thing. But speaking of tag teams that just in general is a really bad segue. Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders. So last week there was a bit of discussion around the idea, anything you can do, I can do better. So last week we saw a challenge given to the Viking Raiders by Street Profits that they couldn't play basketball.
Mm-hmm. And it seemed that way.
It seemed that way. The Viking Raiders were all like, "What? This is the ball. What? This is the ball." And then they, at the back end, they lose via points, but then demonstrate that they knew what they were doing the whole time. Yeah.
We let you win because anything you can do, we can do better. So this was another one of those. They had like a little get together, not very socially distancing. I'm very unimpressed with that guy. And they were having an axe throwing competition, which was interesting. And you get the same sort of montage style video, and it was really hilarious, especially like, Montez Ford at one point, he's pumping up Dawkins and is like, aim for the target. I've been aiming for the environment. Like, you aim for that target, buddy. Like, eventually they get one each. And the first one Montez gets because it's the last axe throw. And then, the Viking Raiders are like, all right, we're going to help you. Like, let us just help you through this. And they start going, smoke.
I also appreciate the Viking Raiders like not quite understanding what they mean by the smoke. They're like, we brought you the smoke. Here is a literal fire. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you need?
And Dawkins is like, no, that's not. And he's like, no, thank you so much for the gift. We appreciate it very much. And then when they're doing terrible, it's like, did we bring too much smoke? Yeah, there's too much smoke. It was just the Viking Raiders are actually fucking hilarious, and I love it. But yeah, after that, like the cops show up and they have an axe in their window, in their windshield, and they're like, "Who did this?" And they're like, "Show us who can throw." And Dawkins is like, "I got this," and I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna put another axe in their window. Here we go." And he gets a bang on bullseye, and everybody
From
just
back
squeezes
throw.
them. Yeah, from behind him, not even looking. It's just like boom, bullseye, and they're just like, it was pretty cool. It was a really good thing. Like that honestly is just, it's a bit of comic relief. It's so good. All four of them work together so well. It was so funny. There's one point where one of the axes that Ford throws ends up in the wine barrel, and everybody's like pissed at him, and they're gonna like talk everybody down because the wine barrel's leaking out. So good.
And then they will just start drinking whatever Montez has in his cup, and they're all having a good time. And
Yeah,
I'm wondering where this
exactly.
is going, but also I don't care because I have a feeling this is going to end in them all being best friends, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. So later in the night, we also get
Hey,
Apollo Crews.
Who are the current? Are the Street Profits still tag team champions?
Yes.
Okay, it's great use of the time.
Yeah, exactly it. Yeah, so Apollo Crews is getting interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and she's like, do you feel like because you missed that opportunity at Money in the Bank, you've got something to prove? And he's like, of course I do. And he's like, I've got a fire and I have revenge to seek, and I'm putting the challenge out now to Andrade. I want that title. I want a title match. And Zelina Vega comes up and she's like, you can either leave now while the chips, like while your cards are up, or you can, you can go into this match and you can never walk again. It's your choice. And he's just like, let's do it. So Apollo Crews at some point will be facing Andrade for that title. I think it's next week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we also had what was next? Yeah, so that actually
Murphy
leads into,
and
that match. So yeah, that leads into the Aleister Black versus Murphy match, which Aleister Black wasted no time with his entrance. Yeah, straight into it. And yeah, like I said, Austin Theory is sitting there that entire time. And as the match is progressing, you see the camera sort of shift to Seth Rollins, make his way over to Austin Theory. And he sort of just looks at him, and they look at each other for a little bit. And then Seth is just like, well, and Austin Theory's like, yeah, just jumps to the ring and starts attacking Aleister Black alongside Murphy, which obviously leads to a disqualification to Murphy. But that doesn't matter. They all belt the absolute shit out of Aleister Black, and then Seth Rollins does the signature hug, and initially Theory's like, what? And then he's like, oh shit, and you see him sort of break down into Seth, and Buddy Murphy's just standing there nodding and all I love that stance he has. He's got the stance with the hands in front of him.
He's got the wide shoulders that really kind of nail it.
Yeah, really menacing it, and yeah, it's just a really good look on him, and it's just yeah, this is cool. So we have a new recruit in Austin Theory, it seems, as one of the disciples. So that's going to be interesting.
Dash in the chat jumps and goes, I'm over Rollins. This is a stupid gimmick. It's literally about...
I love it. It's it's bringing crazy... Like I keep saying, it's bringing crazy Jared Leto to life. It really is. And I love everything about it, and give me all of it all the time.
See, I like it because there is a lack of gimmick these days. And it is one of those things, if there's a gentleman that believes he is the Messiah, why would he do it in a wrestling ring? It's it makes me think of older style gimmicks.
People watch wrestling. It's a good demographic and target.
No, but I even mean if you think back to The Undertaker, why would a an undead being want to wrestle? I mean, it's it kind of puts in those lines of what the old gimmicks used to be. There's none of that anymore, and I think it's the closest we're going to get under this new social media kayfabe is dead sort of era. I think it's probably the closest we're going to get to that. Yeah,
definitely. But no, I think he's executing it perfectly. I love it.
I wouldn't say perfectly. There are certainly still rooms for improvement, but I think within the frame that they have, and within the restrictions that have under this non-gimmick era. Like, they have to do something. All right, let's bring it home, Jem. It's main event time.
Yeah, it's main event time. So earlier in the night, Drew McIntyre is asked about his match with Corbin and if he's, I guess intimidated or anything like that. And he's like, sure, I did sort of follow him around for a year, but he's like, I know everything about him. I've got the upper hand here, and I've got a Claymore kick with the King's name on.
Fit for a king, yeah.
Fit for a king, yeah, and it's got his name on it. And yeah, that leads into a match which, when they come out, Bobby Lashley and MVP come out, and they're like, Bobby Lashley's got some news for you, and Bobby's just like, I'm coming for that belt. Like, I'm putting you on notice. I want that belt, Drew McIntyre. And Drew's just like, okay, well, I'm going to have this match now. And MVP's like, that's all right. We're just going to be here. So Drew McIntyre does have his match with Baron Corbin, with beautiful match as to be expected. Obviously, these guys know each other really well. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Baron Corbin is looking a lot thicker and stronger than he has in a while. Like, his arms look noticeably.
Oh, is that thick with 2 C's? Like, is it a good
he's
kind of thick?
With 2 C's now. Yeah, he's looking real. Yeah, real. So yeah, it ended up being a really full on hard hitting match. Absolutely beautiful, which does end with Drew McIntyre goes for the Claymore. Baron Corbin catches it. Drew McIntyre. No, first it was a Glasgow kiss, and then he goes for the Claymore, and Baron Corbin catch, and then he sneaks around him and gets another one in absolutely viciously, which does give him the win. And Bobby Lashley's standing there, and Drew McIntyre just starts taunting. Just taunting Lashley, come on, this is the Lashley I want to see. That fire and aggression is what I want. Bring it on. And MVP is holding Lashley back. And I don't know. I think if they execute this properly, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre could be a very, very good match.
Well, what I like about this as well is additionally to in addition to the whole Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, these two have history. They worked together. So was Bobby Lashley. They were the trio for a while there.
Oh, they were too.
Yeah.
What would 3-man blend?
Yeah, 3-man blend. That's right.
I forgot about 3-man blend. That's how bland they were.
Yeah, so if anything, this is kind of interesting about them all sort of coming together again, but not really coming together. I do like that Bobby Lashley is getting within a title shot. I say that because there was a big window of time where he was just sort of there, not doing a whole lot. So I kind of like that he's using his power and his strength and everything to be an actual force within Raw. Do you think he should be in a space to take on for the championship?
I definitely think so. Yeah, I think he's worked his friggin' ass off. And like MVP said, it's been 13 years, so it's about time.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. That's almost Kofi Kingston level of time. You know what I mean?
Exactly it.
Yeah. Anyways, that does bring us to
Kofi Kingston. Kofi was 11.
That's right. So that does bring us to the end of Raw in review. Jem, how did you think Raw went this week?
Look, I think it was a pretty damn good Raw, to be honest. I mean, obviously nothing's going to compete to last week, but all in all, I really enjoyed it as well. And I'd probably call it straight down the line and give it a Kurt as well.
I'm going to the other way. I'm going to go Kurt and a bar. Couple reasons. It wasn't a blow out of the water show, but I enjoyed the Randy Edge. I loved all the Becky highlights, which is probably cheating, because happened last week. I like the Street Profitsy bullshit. I like this sort of evolution on Seth Rollins and his gimmick. There's a bunch of different things here that I like, and I think it's moving in the right direction. There was a window of time where SmackDown was the better show, and I think it is swinging back towards Raw at this point. Or maybe there's just more superstars on Raw that I'm directly connected to, and they're the ones that I want to watch. So I'm invested in where these stories are going, especially the idea of Zelina and a trio. I like that. I want to see where this crumble goes. There's a lot more here that I'm sort of sinking my teeth into. So therefore, I personally had a bit more of investment in this week's episode specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I think, I'm going to change my grading and I'm going to join you.
Thank you very much. Good influence there by me.
Yeah.
But anyways, overall, that does bring us to the end of this week's show, man. We covered the SmackDown, we covered the Raw. Now it's time for us to go home. It's a big thank you to everyone for joining us this week. And as we said, this has been our WWE television in review, and it comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes, in one big monster of a show. We combine them together now so you get all of the wrestling goodness in one package. Not even like a bite-sized package, like one big old package. You know, everyone loves a big package. Next what? Now you get a big package every Thursday. Who else can make that offer, am I saying? You know, it's a good deal. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist. Follow us on Twitter. Our handles are below our faces. Also, you can follow the show on Twitter, on Instagram, Discord. All those different links are in the down below area. If you want to support the show, you can by sharing the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your families about this little this bit of wrestling podcast. You know, we this is episode 98, Jem. We are 2 weeks away from 100 episodes. Now, granted, doing 2 shows a week for a little while did kind of take a big dent out of that. But yeah, we're about to wrap out 100 shows between the pair of us, and it's been awesome. And we love for more people to get involved because it is good fun. If you want to support the show financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist or our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but you can, of course, watch us record the show live, twitch.tv/thepopculturist, which some awesome people like Dash, like Bat Prince, like Josh Robinson, like the Mad Dog. A lot of good names now. My apologies if I miss you as I scroll up. Nathan, Bat Prince, tons of good. Did I say Bat Prince?
You did,
he gets it twice because he's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's half the man right now because he's all like thin, but he gets double the recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time. Anyways, until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And we'll see you then.
Good night.
That's some good waving. The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damien Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.